Johnson, the five-time champion that he is, not 5 NBA Finals losses. That's number one.
Here we go. What does that have to do with this? Yo, what's going on, guys? It's Steve. We're about to watch Stephen A. Smith do what he does best. He says some BS in this video. Oh my gosh.
Have at point guard Magic Johnson or LeBron James?
LeBron.
Whether
not
he's
even a
playing
question.
at point guard or power forward, the answer is LeBron James.
Exactly.
Stephen A.
In no way am I trying to say that Magic Johnson is better than LeBron James. That's sacrilegious, it's blasphemous, it's flat out idiotic from a basketball standpoint, and I get that. But to answer the question directly in terms of a point guard, I'm picking Magic Johnson.
How does that even make sense? We all know LeBron can play the point guard position, and he just said that LeBron is a better player. So if he's a better player and he can play the same position, why would you not pick him over Magic? I'm not knocking Magic. That just doesn't make any freaking sense.
And I know that Magic Johnson is not the talent that LeBron James is. I'm not smoking something. But Magic Johnson, the five-time champion that he is, not 5 NBA Finals losses. That's number one.
Here we go. What does that have to do with this? Is John Stockton not a great point guard because he doesn't have any championships at all? Because he's, what, 0-2?
Number two, we're talking about a point guard. So you got to think pass first and everything else later. We're talking about a guy that operates in the clutch. We're talking about a guy that leads and galvanizes troops. And we're not talking about an individual that has stars, the quality of a Kyrie Irving looking to play with somebody else. Those are the kind of intangibles that you have to pay attention to when you're talking about a point guard on a basketball team. Again, like I said, I don't want anybody to confuse this issue. From a talent perspective, LeBron James belongs on the Mount Rushmore of basketball. He's one of the top 4 NBA talents, all-around NBA talents
top 2
in the history of basketball.
First of all, Stephen A. First of all, he's top 2. Okay, you could either say LeBron or MJ number 1. I don't care who you say.
When you talk about a point guard,
come on, that don't even make sense,
passing
dude.
ability, you're talking about orchestrating an offense. You're talking about being a leader of men, both on and off the court. I'm not saying that LeBron doesn't try. I'm not saying he hasn't improved upon that. I'm not even saying that he's not a good leader. I'm saying that there have been times in his career when that has been a question mark. You haven't had that question with Magic Johnson.
I wonder why. When Magic was drafted, who was on that team? Oh, right. The person that most people consider the 3rd greatest player of all time, Kareem. Could you imagine if LeBron were drafted to the same team as a Shaquille O'Neal or a Tim Duncan or a Kareem? Are you serious? Of course Magic doesn't have those moments because he was drafted to a dominant team with
Throughout his
Kareem.
illustrious career. And not only that, last point. When you look at the NBA, and I think this is something that we don't bring up nearly enough, the game has changed dramatically. Right now, you can get called for technical
ice
for having
cream.
bad breath. That's how it seems.
You want to know what else the league has changed for? It takes more skill to play. Defense. Think about defense. Okay? You can't even hand check on the perimeter. That means it's harder to play defense. Now I know you're going to say, oh, it's easier to score then. No, it's not. Because guess what? Zone defense, help defense, traps. None of that was allowed during Magic's time. Remember that. None of that was allowed. So it was pretty much a one-on-one, which makes it easier to score and pass than it is now.
The NBA
but he don't put that together because he contradicts
with all
himself.
of these ticket-tack fouls and everything else. Magic was at a decisive advantage, just like LeBron James would be, because he's so much bigger and taller than most of the opponents going up against him, which is why he could look over an offense, and and obviously you can't give him so much credit for that. The flip side is the game was so physical, so significantly more violent than it is today. So much of the stuff that you had to go through that involves the intangibles as well as the tangibles are things that yesterday's players had to deal with that today's players don't even have to think about. I take all those things into consideration and give the point guard extraordinaire that was a 5-time champion going up against those great Celtics teams and Magic Johnson. I give them all the credit in the world. That's why I'm not taking it away.
That don't even make sense. Look, I'm not knocking Magic. Alright, if y'all saw my top 10 videos, he's a top 10 player of all time, without question. But for Stephen A, he says this. He said this very clearly. LeBron's the better player without doubt. And he's also said, not that, he didn't. He said LeBron's the better player without a doubt, the better talent. Okay, so you say that. And we all know LeBron can play point guard. So we're talking about someone who's a better player and a better talent. Okay? And you said Magic Johnson's better because he's pass first. So does that mean Rajon Rondo is better than Stephen Curry because he's pass first? Does that mean that Darren Williams back in the day was better than Stephen Curry? It doesn't even make sense. Would you pick Rondo now over Russell Westbrook and Stephen Curry? Or John Wall? That don't make sense. Stephen Curry is not a pass first point guard, but he's still dominant. You see how your argument just falls apart? That don't make that. I ate you alive like ice cream. Okay, now going back to the main thing where he contradicts himself. He says LeBron is the better talent. Okay, so if LeBron's the better talent, and we all know LeBron can play the point guard, and he's done it before, because like Stephen A. Smith says, he can play and guard all 5 positions, then logically you would have to go with LeBron. But this dude brings up the most irrelevant stuff. Magic played in a tougher era. Magic, he never choked and all of this. Last time I checked, LeBron wasn't drafted to the same team as Kareem, who's a 3rd best player in NBA history. That doesn't even make sense. Stephen, are you out of your mind? I love you. I love your show, but you be bugging, man. Anyway, I ate you alive like some ice cream. But yeah, man, Stephen A., what are you? Come on, man. That don't even make sense. Hey, man, Steve, I'm out. Peace. Hey, my name is Steve, too. Get me on your show, man. Come on. Stop playing games. Get me on your show. Anyway, I'm out. Peace.